Ryan Wilson, you are Eric DaCosta. Lamar Jackson, do you tag him? Yes or no?
All right, first off, Billy wants us to go by conference, so we'll start in the American Football Conference. We change that?
No, we're just the best teams.
All right. I didn't get the memo, Breech. All right, either way.
I should have early. Don't worry about it.
I'm Eric DaCosta. Yeah. Things are changing, Breech.
1:30.
He put his glasses on. He can read clocks now. Here we go. All right, Eric DaCosta.
I'm like Jameis Winston.
You are the embodiment. You're the living embodiment of Jameis Winston's podcast.
I would actually pretend I was blind before.
Oh my God.
Hopefully you don't tear your ACL running today.
You are Eric DaCosta.
Yeah, I'm tagging Lamar Jackson. Number one, he's 26 years old. Number two, the tag is for quarterbacks $32.4 million Breech, which is going to be well below what he earns on an annual salary when he gets his new deal.
But now, Mr. DaCosta, there is a secondary question here.
No, I'm not trading him.
Exclusive tag.
Exclusive or not exclusive?
Oh, right. So, right. The conversation is, do you want a non-exclusive him and let someone else do the negotiating for you and potentially lose out? Or do you want to pay him? And I would just pay him right now. I don't know what he's asking for. The Spot Track has sort of a market value baseline, and it's at $40.7 million. He's going to get north of that, I feel like. And some of the comps are Kyler, who got 45 million. I mean, not getting less than Kyler. Josh Allen's at 43. Because this deal's a little earlier. Deshaun's at 46, which is insane no matter when that was signed.
You start looking at these deals, you're kind of like, wow, Lamar's like, he's
going to be closer to 50 than the 40.7 that Spot Track sort of baselines. But either way, you start with the franchise tag, 32.4 million, and you go from there. I don't think you allow other teams to negotiate because if someone does something crazy, it only takes one Cleveland Browns to come with like 53 or something a year, and then you're like, oh boy, here we go. So I think you make sure Lamar's healthy. You got Todd Monken in there now. He seems excited about Lamar. He said the other day, you're watching the same games I am. And there's no way I'm not tagging Lamar Jackson, probably exclusively Breech.
Yeah.
So Breech, I think, and Wilson answered this from a DaCosta standpoint. I think, like, I want you to answer it from a Bengals guy standpoint, like Bengals fan standpoint. What do you want? Like, because I was shocked. I texted a Commanders fan and a Panthers fan. They were like, give 2 picks right now for Lamar. Like, as a Bengals fan, do you want Lamar in the division or out of the division?
Who wants him in the division?
Well, I would say two things. I'm actually fine either way this goes, because if it ends up that the Ravens are giving Lamar Jackson $50 million a year for the next 5 years, that's a salary cap crunch. That puts you in a situation. The Bengals are going to be in a similar situation. So, and then if you tag him, if you hit him with the exclusive tag and you're paying him $45 million for 1 year. So, like, if you give him $50 million a year over 5 years, you can spread the cap hits out. You can kind of finagle some things to make that work. But if you tag him exclusively, and it is $45 million for 1 year, 32.4 for the non-exclusive. But I'm saying if you use the exclusive, you're looking at $45 million.
Oh, gotcha.
That is a huge number to try and fit under just 1 year of the salary cap with no way to fix that. And I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to help you. So in that sense, if that's the situation that ends up being the case, then maybe the Ravens are cash strapped.
But
so
let me ask you guys this.
That's a good argument from the Bengals perspective, because you have until July 15th-ish to negotiate a new deal. Lamar ain't doing a new deal if you exclusive.
Well, that's the thing. If you franchise him, that's with the understanding that a new deal has to get done. So you're not paying 45 in one lump sum. It's with the understanding that you got to sign him because he may not want to play on the deal anyway. So
and to that point, Wilson, that pretty much all the
often on the first one.
The speculation and reports have said that Lamar Jackson has asked for a fully guaranteed deal. He has not backed off that a single time. He has not lowered that by a single dollar, that he deserves more money than Deshaun Watson. And that has really been the wrench thrown in these negotiations, is because Jackson's not backing down. The ESPN reported today, or actually a few months ago, but reaffirmed it today, that the Ravens offered 133 guaranteed, which was higher than Russell Wilson's guaranteed at signing, higher than Kyler's guaranteed at signing, but they're not going to get anywhere near. They're $100 million apart in guaranteed money. So I don't see how this doesn't end with the franchise tag.
So it's really interesting because the Deshaun Watson thing happened in a really, really, really rare vacuum where the off-field stuff and the team wanted to trade him, and you have this loosey-goosey maniac, Jimmy Haslam. Remember what did he say when he bought the team? He's like, I'm fired up to the max.
To the max.
Bro, I liked him. I'm an idiot. I fell for that guy. But he's like, I'm fired up to the max. He trades and gives Deshaun Watson this contract. And then the next guy up is Lamar Jackson, who's a rating or like a former MVP with no agent. So there's nobody to like finesse the deal and make it work where he's like, all right, we'll take this, like the most guaranteed money over like new money. Like he's like, I just want more than what Deshaun got. And it's hard to blame him.
Well, and the one thing I will say to that, Brinson, is that so in most cases, I think you want to sign your quarterback as quickly as possible. So if I'm the Bengals, I want to get Joe Burrow under contract tomorrow so that I don't have to look at Justin Herbert's or Jalen Hurts and maybe those guys get above 50 million. Then you have to give Joe Burrow above that if he's not signed yet. With Lamar, I'm almost fine waiting if I'm the Ravens, because when you can point to Burrow or Herbert only getting 140 million are guaranteed or 150 million guaranteed, you can't, it's going to make Lamar Jackson's make his job harder to argue that he deserves a fully guaranteed contract. If Joe Burrow, who's been to a Super Bowl, can't get it, how, can Lamar say that he deserves it?
It's the Dak Prescott situation for Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts. We said for 18 months, what is Jerry Jones waiting for? And then he had to overpay Dak. And hey, turns out Dak is not a top 5 quarterback.
Like, I'd love to give you 50 million, and it's not a real 50 million. Jump in there and do it if you're the Bengals and the Chargers. All right, moving on. Stu claims I have a 1:45 tea time. It's 2:30. Thank you, Stu. I, Will Brinson, am Joe Shane. I have quite the conundrum here.
Joe Shane has really let himself go.
There are. Oh, up high, down hard.
The job has gotten to Joe Shane. I'll just say that.
This things went so poorly. This guy had to get glasses. So I, Joe Shane, have to decide: do I tag Daniel Jones or do I tag Saquon Barkley?
So let me ask you this, Joe.
Okay,
well, before you go on, let me ask you: what about the reports that Daniel Dimes Jones wants $45 million a year?
Okay, I thought it was insane.
Exactly.
No. I read that. Like Mike Florio reported it was like $45 million. Have you lost your mind, bro? But then you actually look at the quarterback contracts. You're like, like okay.
Is Daniel Jones worse?
Let me jump in real quick. Let me jump in real quick.
Fire away. You're my assistant GM. Go away.
Our guy Doug Clausen actually wrote a compelling piece this week on why you should pay Daniel Jones $45 million per year. If you give him that money now, Jalen Hurts, that would be top 5 as of today. But
insane.
But Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, all going to get more than that this offseason. So now Daniel Jones is ranked 10th overall by the time the season starts, and now that money doesn't seem so crazy. It's just like the Dak thing. You pay him sooner so that the contract doesn't look so dumb 5 years or 2 years from now.
Do you remember earlier this season we're like, well, Daniel Jones is playing really good football. He's going to get $30 million a year. We're like, that makes total sense. If you go and look at who makes $30 million a year,
that's Andy Dalton money.
It's Carson Wentz money. That dude ain't taking less than Carson Wentz. He ain't taking less than Jared Goff. He ain't taking less than Kirk Cousins. He can't take less than Dak Prescott in his own division. It's the principality of it.
Principality. All right, so what are you doing, Joe?
What I'm doing is offering Daniel Jones a $44.9 million per year contract. Hear me out. But it's Derek Carr / Jimmy Garoppolo money, because Patrick Mahomes makes $45 million a year. I can't give you more than Mahomes, bro. Come on. And if you don't take that deal, I'm going to tag you. And then I'm going to reach in my pocket and pull out the transition tag and drop that little puppy on Saquon Barkley, because I got 2 tags.
Okay.
No one ever uses 2 tags, but you can.
Transition tag.
Yeah. And then you got both guys that are like.
You can transition to not having a job after you do that.
Joe Shane. Hey.
No, you, Joe Brinson, the GM.
First of all, that's my grandfather's name.
Was he the GM of the Giants? Because I would imagine he wouldn't do both tags.
No. Look, if you franchise tag Daniel Jones and transition tag Saquon Barkley, you make ownership happy. You keep those 2 core first-round players intact, and then you just got to figure it out. If Daniel Jones doesn't want to sign a deal, look, You bring in the Maras and the Tishes, or the Maras and the Tishes, however you pronounce it, and you say, listen, Daniel, we took you 6th overall. You're going to have to just sign this $40 million a year contract, pal. And he'll sign it.
He ain't gonna do that. He fired his agent. He didn't fire agent to get less money.
He went from CAA. He fired CAA. Who fires CAA? That's insane.
Daniel Jones.
Well, exactly.
Hey, Breech, under any circumstance, would you let Saquon walk and then get the 3rd round comp pick?
I think that it's harder to replace a quarterback than a running back. So I think if you're Brian Dable, you think that, hey, look, we got a good thing going with Daniel Jones. I would franchise tag Daniel Jones. So I think that's
to me, it's either you work a deal out with Daniel Jones and then you tag Saquon, or you don't get the deal done with Daniel and you franchise tag him, and then you try to figure out what you want to do. You could transition tag if you want to, but more than likely you let Saquon go see what the market bears, and it's not going to be
well
much.
The only good thing about Saquon getting the tag is that it's $10 million, and the only person making a ton of money is McCaffrey. Everyone else,
I'm not franchise tagging Saquon,
but I'm saying that's actually sort of, you got to pay him more probably if you try to do more than that.